Chargers, Commanders, Week 5.
Let's talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, new viewers and Burgundy Ballers, welcome back to our Week 5 previews and predictions episode. It's Jon and Nick back here for the Ballin In Burgundy podcast, and we got a very special guest, our second West Coast operative, my go-to content creator for the Chargers. Please welcome the host of the Electric Edge podcast, Miss Taylor Seatar. Taylor, welcome to BIB.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Looking forward to talking some Chargers-Commanders matchup today.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Herbert versus Daniels, Oregon versus Arizona turned to LSU. Y'all have got injuries. We have a hell of a lot of injuries.
Your list is long.
It is long and not fruitful for us DMV folks. Before we get into any of this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on the Ballin In Burgundy podcast. Road to 1,000 subscribers is continuing. I want this by the end of December when I go to that Philly game. I think we can get there. We need 260 subs away. So if you are not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and go give Taylor a follow at the Electric Edge Pod on all social media platforms. She just got that at 500 subscriber cross mark. So get her to 1,000 because she's putting out some quality content and she's been doing this for like a third of the time that we have. And she's already killing it out the gate. So y'all subscribe to her. Y'all go follow Nick. Y'all see his tag. Let's get into this thing. I'm not even going to start with the hype. I'm starting with the negatives. This injury list for both of our teams is outrageous. I don't know how this happens. I'm gonna start with the Chargers. So obviously from last week going into now, star tackle Joe Alt is out with his ankle injury. Wide receiver Darius Davis is out for his knee. Mekhi Becton, Will Dissly, and Tucker Fisk are all questionable. So 2 tight ends and a guard. Your offense is not... It's fallen apart just like we are.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty last week against the Giants. Joe Although is interesting because they haven't put... I think tomorrow they have to put him onto the IR. So I don't know if he's going to go on the IR. You know, last week against the Giants, there's reports that came out that he wanted to go back into the game, and the coaching staff was like, no. And, you know, Daniel Popper, who's one of the reporters for the Chargers, put out that Alt's been walking around facility in a boot. I don't think that he's going to go on the IR. I don't think it's that serious of an ankle injury, but you never know. I personally don't want him to go on the IR. I don't want to lose him for 4 weeks, especially with the state of this offensive line right now. So we'll see about that. On the Mekhi Becton front, today at practice, he removed his gold non-contact jersey. So Harbaugh had mentioned today in his press conference that he is one checkbox away from being able to start on Sunday, which will be huge for the offensive line because he was missed the past 2 games. You know, he played week 1 with his illnesses that he had in Brazil. Week 2 he played, then week 3 he got hurt, and him being hurt, you could definitely see the difference in the offensive line. So if we can get him back in at right guard, but to caveat that, Harbaugh wouldn't say who's going to play left tackle on Sunday either. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know they've worked out Jeremy Salyer, who was playing right guard last week for them. He played left tackle in 2022 when Rashawn Slater went down with a bicep injury. So he has some experience there. They had Deckless there again, who played last week against the Giants, who did pretty bad. I think he was in the bottom 5 of PFF grades. So I don't want to see him there at left tackle. But then Mekhi Becton, he was drafted as a tackle. So it remains to be seen who's going to be the starting 5 on the line on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to say with Becton being drafted as a tackle, you know, I don't know y'all's depth as well as I know ours, but
we don't have much.
I was going to say, are you guys stronger on the interior to be able to bump you Becton out, or are you more strong on the tackle side to bump a tackle out?
Yeah, the interior of the offensive line is pretty rough. I mean, if you're going to grade the interior offensive line right now, Zion, who plays left guard, he's definitely been the strongest this year. Bradley Bozeman's awful. PFF grades, he's ranked 47th out of 48th, so he's worse than some backups in the league right now. And then if you have Salyer in there, he's been in bottom five of PFF grades too. So Mekhi Becton should stay at right guard, and they should put Salyer at left tackle. And I put this out on my show this week too, that I think the starting five on the line will be Salyer, Zion, Bozeman, Becton, and then Trey Pipkins at right tackle.
Okay. Yeah, I did look into some of your stuff, and I just heard you going down the rant of Bozeman. So I was like, okay, she knows her big
Yeah,
fellas.
I mean,
Okay, I appreciate it.
the dude was bad last year, and he was on a 1 year deal last year, but he's a Ravens guy. So Greg Roman and Joe Ortiz, our GM, they love him. Um, and after that Houston game last year, they talked about beefing up the offensive line, but you do the same thing over and over again. You sign Brad Bozeman, and he's been a disaster this year. I mean, but the last two games have been pretty bad. I would say the first week out of the gate against the Chiefs, like the offensive line played well. Even against the Raiders too, they played very well. And then the last 2 weeks, it's kind of been this unraveling train wreck. So I'm hoping this week they can right the ship, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is this should be a good Deron Payne kind of game. I like where your head's at. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think you're going to definitely get some pressure on Herbert. I mean, last week I think Herbert was pressured on about 50% of his dropbacks,
Okay.
and he's just taking way too many hits right now. So I'm hoping with Disley, I know he's questionable. Disley's part of that pass protection, so hopefully he can play on Sunday. So hopefully that helps. And Tucker Fisk too is also one of those blocking tight ends. So we'll see what the game plan is to get those two incorporated.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's that offensive line for you guys. Like I had high hopes. I was like, all right, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, Mekhi Becton, Bozeman, it is what it is at this rate until you guys draft, one next year. I'm like,
Yeah.
3 out of 5, especially with Becton coming off a Pro Bowl season, Super Bowl season, drafted as a tackle, sucks. You put him at guard, you're like, he's good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm like, all right, Justin finally gets a good offensive line. Slater's gone before the season. I'm like, all right, well, you still have Alt. Nope.
Yeah. And before Slater's injury, like people were talking the Chargers are going to do well. As soon as that injury happened, everyone
Yeah.
dropped them. And it was literally like 3 days after he signed his massive deal. I mean, he held
Mhm.
out, for that new extension, and it's unfortunate. It's a really bad injury too. It's definitely a hard one to come back from.
Oh yeah. We're we,
Yes.
we're rowing in that same boat with a player of ours ourselves. So
Yeah, I
we
don't
get it for sure.
yeah, I definitely get it. Going to Nick, your and I side of this damn injury report. Terry, Noah Brown, Sam Cosmi and company did not fly out to LA because they were practicing at the UCLA Stadium, the Coliseum earlier today. So we're already out our top two receivers and our starting guard, but Sam's coming back. Um, and then everyone else is on full practice from today. Armstrong, Bates is coming back, Ballore, Butler's back, Jayden is returning, Zach looks fine, Cahill is off his concussion, Miller, Payne, Mikey looks good, Debo looks good, Tunsil looks good, Yank. Like, I'm finally happy
Yeah.
that people are coming back, and this is probably the game I needed them to mostly come back. Um, but looking at the video, Taylor, you posted on your Twitter. I liked it and said it on ours. Jayden in that brace
Yep.
looks uncomfortable.
Yep.
It doesn't look. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a personal experience with those braces. So I've had multiple ACL reconstructions. I had a couple in high school and then going into college. So I actually had two of those braces on my knee at once, and I had a teammate that used to just rag on me about it because I just looked so awkward trying to run. But those things are definitely uncomfortable. They're very bulky. It's that brace is limiting like the knee from going side to side. So it especially if he's not used to wearing it, it's definitely something to get used to. I mean, those braces are designed for like linemen.
Oh yeah.
It's really tough to be mobile in one of those braces.
Yeah, I wore them myself when I played line in school, and even like, I'm not fast or running routes or anything like that, but I'm telling you, on those reach blocks, sometimes you realize you're like, damn, like I can't even move my legs, an extra like foot outside to get
Yeah.
to where I need to go to block somebody. I couldn't imagine being in a pocket, making two people miss, trying to step up, step back, drop back, roll out, like, and with never wearing it before, with RG3, when we had him, I mean, he was at least used to wearing one, from just tearing his knee before. But
Yeah.
I mean, even then he struggled with it. So, I just hope it's not a RG3 situation where they're
Yeah.
rushing him back too soon. That's the only thing I really care about at this point. So,
Yeah. I don't think they're rushing him back because based on the reports coming out of like Tuesday, Doc's cleared him.
yeah.
Like
Well,
medically he's cleared. He looked fine in Ashburn. Like nothing seemed wrong flying over to LA. First time wearing the brace, it doesn't look fun. Like Mac Jones was struggling with his brace on
mm,
Thursday Night Football, and he got killed out there. I can't imagine Jayden right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, I mean, Jaden's part of his game is running.
Yep.
Mac Jones is going to stay in the pocket for the most part. Your rush game is what, second in the league right now. So,
Mm.
that's a big part of your offense, and him not being mobile. I mean, we'll see, but it's going to be tough, especially in that brace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't want to wear it. I never want to wear it. It doesn't look fun. I'm good. I'm a-okay. Um, but looking onto Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard, 1:25 on the West Coast for Taylor and company. 3-1 Chargers, 2-2 Commanders. This game could make or break us. This game, if the Chargers win, they look even better. If lost, it seemed like the NFC East does something to the AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are coming. They're
Yeah.
starting to get hot. Denver, I mean, Denver played very well. I mean, they played against a bad Bengals team, but Denver has a lot of talent too. So this is a critical game for us, I think, to win. Also, just bouncing back from a bad loss. That Giants game was just right out of the gate. The Chargers could not get anything going. I was watching from home, and the first drive of the game, they had the false start on Pipkins, and then the third down, McConkey drops that ball, and I just felt from that point, I'm like, they're not going to win this game. Like they're not going to be able to get going against this team. And sure enough, with the penalties, not being able to contain Dart, the offensive line issues, it just nothing could get going. So I'm hoping that going into this week in practice, the Chargers have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, which I've read some reports that, they're not happy about the loss last week, that they come out with some intensity and get things going right away against the Commanders.
Oh yeah, I said that last week on the pod when we were recording and giving our reaction after the Falcons game, is that, emotions speak for themselves after a loss like that, because we're in the same boat, like, two superior teams going down to a lesser, foe. So
Yep.
no way y'all should have lost to the Giants. No way we should have lost to the Falcons. You know what I mean? Even with Mariota at the helm. But at the end of the day, it's what you were just talking about. I literally said that. I was like, man, y'all don't get it together, man. You think going to LA after them losing to who's probably going to be one of the bottom 5 teams in the league with a top 5, top 10 pick again, you think that they're not going to be pissed off and ready to go and just come after you with everything they got? And you hit the nail right on the head. I think the same thing, and we're flying to y'all.
Yep.
And it ain't like you guys were in New York and it's like, all right, we'll just go right up DC. We'll be fine. We'll go to Maryland, play the game. Like, no, it's like y'all got to go home, watch the film. Everyone got to go sleep in their own bed where we're on the plane after getting our asses kicked. And it's just, at the end of the day, I think it should be a competitive game. And with both of us dealing with the injuries we are, it should be close, but, I'll save the reaction talk for later.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, regardless. The spread right now, I think, is 2.5. So, I could see it being a 2-3 point game.
Yeah, I think I saw it at like 2.5 this morning, or
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.5, whatever. It was something like that. Yeah, it was
It's
very,
close.
very close. It's basically a pick 'em game. So,
Yeah.
but Yeah. Hopefully, with the state of our DB room, hopefully Lad just keeps dropping balls. Hopefully,
You guys have to watch for
fills up
QJ.
on that senior breakfast at IHOP. You know what I mean? Just get a carb overload, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
I
No, I
no
think
no go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I think Lad hasn't really gotten it going this year yet. He doesn't have a touchdown this year. You got to watch out for QJ. Um,
Oh,
I read a stat.
yeah.
You guys are giving up a lot of big chunk plays, and
Oh, yeah.
he is Herbert's go-to guy for plays down the field this year. I don't know what happened in the offseason. He's found his hands, but
Yeah.
he has been phenomenal this year. I think that also goes hand in hand with better coaching. I mean, his rookie year, he had Brandon Staley at the helm, which, I have my qualms about. Um, but, he's definitely a hard worker. He puts in a lot of work. He's gotten tremendously better. Even from last year, he's taken a massive leap. So if you're going to watch anyone on the receiving core, it's QJ.
Yeah, I was actually talking to myself because playing fantasy football. But when y'all brought back Mike Williams, I was like, damn, like Mike Williams and then Keenan Allen. I was like, man, I bet he probably had a sit down with himself at his little dorm room or whatever during camp and looked in the mirror and was like, okay, they drafted this dude after me. Like they just took me. Now they're taking this other kid. And now they're bringing back these two old heads that they've already gotten rid of. And now they're bringing them back. He's like, man, I got to figure something out. And I think, I don't know if, like what you said, he definitely found his hands somewhere, wherever he left them at, wherever he had to go back and get those hands from. But
It don't make any sense.
no, just maybe working with Herbert or, watching more film with Herbert. Who
Yeah.
knows? But something definitely clicked, and it's working for you guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean he's been a very hard worker since he got into the building. I don't think it's anything as far as work ethic. I think his rookie year just bad coaching. Not putting him in positions to be successful. I mean his go-to in college was like these short routes you just run up the field. But this year I think it's another year with Herbert and chemistry and taking some of the pressure off of him too. I mean you got drafted in the first round. There's big expectations, not living up to those expectations. Lad had a great year, kind of took some of the pressure off him, and I got Keenan back. So there's a lot to go around on that offense.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's not just those three. It's not just I call him Ladarius McConkey at this rate.
No,
It's not
that's
just
fair.
Lad. It's not Seed. It's not just QJ. It's not just Keenan. Keandre Lambert Smith out of Auburn. I liked him coming out. I
Yeah,
wanted Trey Harris injury concerns regardless coming out of Ole Miss. Darius Davis is a
Yeah.
speed demon. Y'all got Omarion Hampton out of
hmm
UNC in the first round.
yeah.
I didn't think y'all were gonna go with him, but it makes absolute sense. Tight end, like say what you want. I was a fan of Orde Gadsden the second coming out of Syracuse, big, tall, physical tight end.
I
Still
love
got
him.
Conklin. Like the fact that when your wide receiver three is Keenan Allen, you've got like running back
Yeah.
depth to be damned for you guys. Like Hassan Haskins is kind of just whatever at this rate. It's
Yeah.
really the Michigan to Michigan connection. There's not a hole in that receiving core.
No, and
No.
it's night and day from last year. Um, last year it was basically the Lad McConkey show.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
QJ had his moments, but it was mostly Lad. And they fixed that this year. Whether it's signing Keenan Allen, like I said, QJ found his hands. Through the draft. But I liked Hampton in their first round because Harbaugh and Roman are those run first guys. And I thought they needed a legit back. I was hoping that they brought back J.K. Dobbins, which now it's looking like a mistake that they couldn't get something done with him with
Yeah.
Najee Harris going down. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see who backs up Hampton. It'll be Haskins, but they have Kamani Vidal, who was
Yeah.
one of their picks last year.
Out of
He's been dabbling in the
Troy,
practice squad.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and he's been on the practice squad. I think he was on the active roster last week, but if you look at the touches from last week, it was just Hampton, and I think Herbert had like one or two carries, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them at least get a mix of rotation of touches this week.
Yeah, because Haskins has been active all year, right? Because I wasn't sure if
Yep.
he was still active with Najee out there, or if he was on practice or not practice squad, but inactive.
No, he was active. He's on special teams a
Okay,
lot. He's on kick
that
returns.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yep, that makes
yeah, he's
sense.
not he's not a bad little backup either.
No.
But he's I don't want to go down my little rant, but you know, I was not the biggest fan of Omarion Hampton, to be honest with you. I didn't think he would really amount to much, and I know I could still row that boat by myself, and I stick to my guns because he's had a few good games. I'll give
Yeah.
it to him or whatever, but when the holes are there, watch out. He's very he's I don't want to say explosive, but I also don't want to say like a bruiser. Like he's a good mix. Like his body frame, like his frame and his running style, I really liked a lot. But my biggest thing is I felt like every time he did anything that was like great or
Mhm.
a plus run, I mean, damn, I'd probably pick up 15, 20 yards with them holes at North Carolina. And now doing it, like when he was out there the first couple weeks, I mean, he really didn't look
Yeah.
that great. I mean, he was getting stopped at the 2 yard line by a 140-pound corner,
Yeah.
and he was getting chopped down by it, and you look at people like Scat and you look at Genty, who it don't matter who the hell's coming downhill on them, they are going to get run over. Like it's just the first man will never tackle those dudes. And then you've got this big, huge Omarion Hampton who's just like tripping over his own turf, so
Yeah.
it was
No,
just fun to watch, but
I'm in agreement with you. The first 2 weeks were a bit rough to watch, but he's had some, hard runs. Like there's a couple fourth downs that he was in, and he got some hard yards. I think last week it was like 4th and 1, and he got 18 yards just pulling defenders with him. So
that one run on the sideline where he
yeah,
like dragged and just kept
yeah,
stomping his feet, I was like, okay, like if I would have saw more of that, he would have been higher up on my draft board. But it is what it is at this point. I mean, I'll even admit in front of everybody that I actually had Trevor Etienne ranked above him. So and hey, he'll put on a show this weekend. All right, Rico Dowdle and Trevor Etienne, we gonna find out. But
You,
yeah,
I learned new things about you every week, Nick, and I don't know whether I like it or not.
no, I had on my top 10. I think I looked at it today because I knew we'd be on with you. So I figured Omarion would pop up, and if someone, I don't want to be like that guy who's like, oh no, I just accidentally did. No, he's a beast. Like, no, I stick to what I say, and I think on my top 10, I think he was eighth for me.
okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah, he was low. He was low. I can't like I had people. I had both O State running backs in front of him. I had Bayshaw in front of him, ETN in front of him, Caleb in front of him, and then obviously Scat and Genty. And then I think under him it was RJ and somebody else. It's skipping me right now. I can't think about it, but I definitely had RJ like 10th, I believe.
I thought if the Chargers didn't take Hampton in the first round, I thought Scadaboo would be like a perfect hardball guy, just like
Oh
tough
my god.
nose in your face. Like he would have
Yeah.
been the guy I would have wanted, but it didn't work out that way. But right now, I'm pretty happy with Hampton. He's starting to finally figure it out. So we'll see
Yeah.
if that trend continues.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you 100% with Scat. I think he's the best running back in the draft this year. So
He's just a beast. Like
he is so good. Yeah.
Um,
And everything about it.
yeah, yeah. He
Yep.
just loves football. He's
Yeah,
just a
he'll
football
catch it,
guy.
run you over, and then pancake block you in the pass game. So
Yeah,
I mean, what else would you want?
yeah.
What more would you want? So
I mean, he probably less CTE from because he probably has it by now. But I
man,
mean,
who
a person
don't?
can dream.
I've got CTE, so it's all right. I had a
I
lot of
mean,
head-to-head collisions.
speaking of head-to-head collisions, it's gonna be our Commanders offense versus that Chargers defense because with Jayden coming back, it opens things up for Debo, for Luke, for Jalen. But the Chargers defense can't be slept on either. Looking at
No,
it like Tier Tart has been doing wonders for y'all, slapping the taste out of Mrs. Swift's mouth, or out of Mr. Swift's
Love
mouth,
it.
excuse me. You've got Tuli Tuipulotu, Jamari Caldwell, the rookie out of Oregon. You got Justin Ebagabi out of Alabama. You've still got Deion Henley, who I was a fan of. Dante Jackson, Derwin James, Cam Hart at Notre Dame, I wanted. Tarheeb Steele, who's turned out to be an absolute steal for y'all. But there's one name on, and RJ Mickens, I wanted too. But there's one name on that defense that if he makes a play,
don't say it.
Nick, you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Twitter is going to blow up. and that is Saint Flag, Saint Groupie, BSA, Benjamin Saint Juice. What have you been feeling with Benjamin Saint Juice as a Charger?
So the plays I've seen him make have been impactful. Like had a pass deflection last week against the Giants. I know he's in that mix of starters of corners. But his play so far, I can't criticize him. I know that he is hated in Washington. Um, but he hasn't had the opportunities really to make a big impact. Like he had the one pass deflection last week against the Giants. Um, but like he hasn't given up big plays. Like if I want to talk about big plays, Lohi Gilman is target number one for blowing coverage on the defense.
Hmm.
But I mean, our secondary, we signed him this year. We signed Dante Jackson, who's played very well. He got a pick against the Raiders. And still's having a great year. But we haven't had a turnover since the Raiders game either. So it'll be interesting to see if we can force one this week.
Yeah, well, we got our first last week, so we're gonna. Yeah, the
We're in the
battle,
same boat.
the battle of the. Well, I'll save that word for another day, but
I mean, yeah, I mean, but with Khalil Mack on IR, Joey Bosa going to Buffalo,
Yeah.
the Commanders' offense is going to look, I think, hopefully better, especially if we can run the ball. We need to give Krosky, Bill Merritt more carries. Chris needs more carries.
I was gonna say just give someone more carries. Good
Just
night.
like
Just somebody run the damn ball more than 7 times, man.
yeah,
Good.
like I tweeted about this to actually
Ugh.
tagging Taylor on this because the Chargers defense this year, fourth in the NFL for points per game, 17.8, third on yards per game with 270, second in red zone TDs with 30.77%, so 30 and three quarters. Second in touchdowns per game at 1.5, fifth in the league in sacks at 9.2%. So that is a top five defense we're going up against. This isn't Atlanta. Las Vegas didn't have it. New York didn't have it. This is going to be the biggest challenge for the Commanders. Going back to Taylor, what are your thoughts on this Commanders offense going into Sunday against your vaunted Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Chargers defense definitely needs to figure out their run defense this week. It was not as dominant as it was the past couple of weeks. It looked very good against the Chiefs, looked great against the Raiders. Jonty was shut down. It looked pretty well against Denver too, especially J.K. Dobbins didn't have over 100 rushing yards against us. And then last week it was like Scadaboo and Dart had their way. I will say, I think part of the issue is that Diane Henley has been sick. He had this flu game against the Raiders. He played phenomenal, like probably his best game of his career, and he was sick. But he lost 15 pounds from being sick, and he was in the
Oh,
hospital. So he hasn't been healthy the past 2 weeks, and he is a big part of being that spy, especially on the quarterbacks that run. And I think that was a big part of the problem last week that he isn't fully 100% yet to contain Dart and make those plays. So I'm hoping that he is back to 100% this week. It's been 3 weeks now, and he could be the difference maker this week on the defense.
hmm.
Yeah. Are you because I'm scared for our corners versus your wide receivers. Is there a healthy wide receiver between Debo, Luke, Jalen, hell, Chris Moore at this rate that you're like, we need Dante Jackson on somebody? Or are you like, our
Hurts.
wide receiver core just nothing to you Chargers fans?
I really can't complain about our corners this year. They've played very well. I will complain about Alohi Gilman. There's been twice now. I think it was in week one against the Chiefs that play Mahomes had down the field, just the blown coverage. I think he was down there. And then one of the last plays of the first half against Denver was another blown coverage. I think St. Juice was actually involved in that, but I don't think he was supposed to cover. I think it was Gilman. Gilman was running the
I don't
wrong
think
way.
he knows who to cover half the time.
um, but I think that the corners have been very solid this year. I'd like to see more interceptions. Like I said, we've only had turnovers against the Raiders, no other teams yet.
Yeah.
But the Chargers need to step up their run defense this week. And just on the defensive line, Tuitu Pelotu had his breakout game last week against the Giants. He had 4 sacks on Dart. He didn't have a sack coming into the game. He was getting pressures, and it finally broke through. But the Giants' offensive line isn't top tier either. But it was good to see him take Khalil Mack's spot and get some pressure and get some sacks on the quarterback. So hopefully that continues as well this week.
Yeah.
How do you guys typically fare against the tight ends with Zach Ertz? You think, you guys do a little man zone, or
Yeah,
how do
so
you go about the tight ends?
I was actually reading about Ertz. I think Ertz has like 7 catches on third down from
There's a lot.
Daniels.
Yeah.
So I think Derwin James typically will cover a tight end. He does it a lot with Travis Kelce. So
yeah.
I'm wondering if that's going to be a similar game plan. I think he did it as well in the Raiders game with Bowers, but Bowers was hurt week 2.
Okay.
But yeah, I would look out for Derwin James to be looking at a tight end. But Derwin James is just all over the field. Like he'll be in coverage and then he'll come off and blitz. He's a maniac.
And that's why I asked, because I know I get to see him a lot when they go up against the Chiefs, right? So
yeah.
He's always constantly with Kelce, but you think to yourself, you're like, well, hell, some people think Kelce's the best tight end ever or whatever. So it's like, of course, you would have a safety who's athletic, can run, cover, jump, tackle, all that stuff on Kelce. But I just wasn't sure if that was like a thing y'all do on, even if you were going up against whoever was the tight end that week, or if it was like, Travis Kelce elite tight end type of deal. But that's how I was game planning for it, which, could help us out in a way by bringing them down into the box and maybe run into the other side of the field, because our run game has gotten a lot better, especially with the updated of the O-line, the interior, with the guards of Paul and Wiley. Those boys will block. Like they are not scared. Like they see a big name, they don't care. They go hunting for that big name. And I love it, being a old lineman myself. So, you gotta go initiate the contact. You can't take the contact. But my biggest thing was with having Jayden back, Ertz automatically, he ascends to the number 1 option for Jayden. I mean, he's been his favorite target since last year, even with the production Terry gave out and, Noah coming in and it looking like him and Noah had a big connection. But I think this is a game where Ertz being covered by Derwin, getting jammed at the line, getting bullied or whatever, he still has to come up with the balls for us to be successful. So I think it's going to be it's going to be one of them ice up games. There's going to be a lot of ice on that plane on the way home for Zach Ertz. So, but yeah, I figured it was Derwin James, but I figured I'd pick your brain on it because I didn't know if you guys, did a little something different, or how you guys went about that.
Yeah, my go-to would definitely be Derwin. And like I said, if Henley is fully healthy, he's another one that's just all over the field too.
Okay.
So I would plan for those two.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was planning for them already because I said this last week on the Burgundy Breakdown with me, Reedy, Z, and Wangati, and even last week on our Week 4 reactions. We need to run the ball here in Washington. Yeah. I know this is not what. Sorry, Chill. I'm about to do like a 2-minute rant.
No, you're good.
We need to run the damn ball. Yes. We cannot turn into the Super Bowl Seahawks and just throw it when we should run it. We shouldn't turn into last night's Rams when they ran it instead of threw it. We need to run the ball. Bill only getting 7 carries in the game is atrocious. Chris only getting 7 carries in a game is horrific. But John, you're always playing from behind. You guys are always trailing by the score. Well, you can't run the ball. Yes, you can. When every running back is averaging anywhere between 4.5 and 7 yards a carry per game, you run the ball. Hampton, I think, had like over 100 yards, I think, last week, even all-purpose.
Don't get me started. He had 12 carries for like 124 yards. And Herbert's getting walloped back there.
Mm-hmm.
The defense isn't biting. It's like, why don't we run the ball? Give Hampton the ball. And I've had Charger fans argue me, he had that one big run. It doesn't matter. You got to take pressure off Herbert. Herbert's getting hit almost every drop back. Run the ball. You drafted a running back in the first round. Use him.
Yeah, and we didn't.
I feel your pain.
Back, but I said the same thing. I've been going down this rant for weeks myself with, what protects your quarterback? Running the ball. What protects the lead? Running the ball. What protects your time management on the field? Running the damn ball. Your defense can't stop nobody. Guess what protects your defense? Running the ball. Like, I hate to sound like an old head, and like I also said, like, yeah, I'm not saying we run it 40, 50 times a game, and like what Jon was just mentioning, where we're just handoff after handoff after hand. Like, you obviously have to mix stuff in. Give Debo the jet sweeps or read options with Jayden or Mariota at the time. But you got to sprinkle in some different stuff. But at the end of the day, like Jon said, I mean, and my math tells me that I just need more than 10 yards for a first down, right? Well, if one running back gets 6 to 7 yards once and he does it twice, I'm pretty sure that's more than 10. So I would probably just stick to that. And at this point in time, like, you can't expect your defense to go out there if you can't stop a struggling Michael Penix, and you can't stop, or do anything against anybody at this point, really, in the pass game. I mean, you got Trey Tucker who goes nuts. You just pick a tight end from Green Bay, went crazy. You know what I mean? We can't stop anyone in the pass game right now. So you have to be able to run the ball against the Chargers. Otherwise, Justin Herbert, I mean, he's going to be a player of the week. I mean, he's going to throw for 400 yards, no problem, no problem.
Here's the problem. Herbert's already in MVP conversations. So this game might just propel his stats.
Yeah, and this is, I'll hit on this later when we probably do our predictions, but I think this is going to be one of those games. And now, Taylor, you have your team. Everyone, when they watch their team, they've got that one thing where every Sunday you're telling yourself, like, don't nobody got it worse than us in this category, right? I'm telling you, everybody else is so much better than us at this thing. But I'm telling you right now, this to me is set up so perfectly for us to have one of those games where we just saw the Giants go nuts on y'all's O-line. Y'all's O-line's banged up. Herbert's getting destroyed back there, like you said. He's getting, whether he's getting sacked or hit or pressured, whatever it is, I feel like this is that game where Joe Witt's under the gun, and he's like, you know what, screw it. Okay, Von Miller, let's go do your thing. We brought you here for a reason. And we're going to get all this pressure on Herbert, and it's going to be like 15 years ago when we used to play Romo, and we would have his ass hit in the backfield 20 times a game and leave the game with half a sack. Like, it's going to be one of those games where Herbert's getting pulled, rush this way, rush that way, hit, touch, whatever, and he's just going to roll right on out and deliver a dot down the field for 50 yards, or he's just going to roll out and pick up a 6-7 yard first down. And I think that's what's going to kill us. So, like I said, I'll dial it back for our predictions, but that is exactly where my heart and my gut's telling me is going to happen. Because, I mean, it's in the cards. Y'all's O-line's banged up. Herbert, you just watched on tape, like, damn, they couldn't do nothing if we just pressure them. You know what I mean? Yeah, let Omarion get 100 and some. That's 12 carries. That's a fluke. That ain't going to happen every week, until it does. So
Until it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the one thing Herbert didn't do enough of last week was use his legs. I think there was times, especially getting pressure, he could have rolled out or stepped up. Probably not stepped up because Dexter Lawrence was down his throat most of the game.
Yeah.
But he only had one carry last week, and other games, especially like against the Chiefs, he had multiple carries. He's using his legs a lot. So I hope that, at least to help himself, he can use legs a little more this week, so he doesn't get hit 15 times.
Yeah, and
because,
that's the thing.
He last year he wasn't healthy. The year before he wasn't healthy. This year he's finally healthy, and I want to keep it that way. But his offensive line is doing him zero favors right now.
Yeah. And it's all there in the cards for him, just like, and that's another thing that adds to it. He's just back there. He's like, screw this, man. Like, I got abused last week. So he's like, screw it. If I see a lane, I'm taking it. I'm just going to slide, be smart, get out of bounds, throw it away, whatever you got to do. But don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if that man rolls out 6, 7, 8 times, 40 some yards, 50 yards, picking up those crucial, like, 3rd and 8s or whatever, So, I hope not, but I've watched this team way too long. So
I feel like it's the same thing with me, the same stuff I see over and over again. But to your point, I think last week there was a 3rd and 18, and he picked it up with his legs.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it
Yeah.
happens again.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying right there. So,
It's it's this might be the best test for both teams to really get reevaluated after a heartbreaking loss for y'all. After a, I said this last week, we should have lost by more to Atlanta. We really should have, Nick. That game felt like Green Bay all over again. Down
yeah.
by 10, you come back, you turn over, you come back, and it's just we should have lost by 10 that game. We only lost by 6. Like that was the feeling of like we got killed again. This is going to be a test for us of saying, can we keep up with some of the league's best? Because if not, trade deadline's coming in
Yeah.
5 weeks. You got
Yeah.
to
Like,
make a move, whether it's receiver, edge, safety at this rate. Like we've got to do something. Chargers have it. I think a really good game plan is just give every receiver the ball 10 times and call it a day and protect Herbo. We have a bajillion things we need to do. Um, so this is going to be the test. But to wrap things up, Nick, you foreshadowed it earlier. Taylor, this is one of our bread and butters when it's not mock draft season because I'm John Kuiper Jr. with these things. What it is our score predictions time here on BIB. I'm gonna start with Nick and then I'll go to Taylor and go to myself so we can do the roundabout on my screen. Nick, starting with you, what is your score prediction going into the game?
all right. So I think I'll just get right to it. I think, like I said, I just going to piggyback off what I was talking about. I think it's one of those games where where we look good, we look like we're turning that page. Okay, finally we start doing better things on defense. Okay, we're starting to run the ball more. See what we can do when we actually run. All those kind of conversations you have with yourself
Yeah.
at the end of the game. However, it's going to pain me to say this, all right, because it's my first one of the year. But I think we take a long flight down to LA and come away with a loss. I think I think just Herbert and that offense for what our defense is right now is just too much. Hey, you can shine the light all you want, man.
How dare you?
I don't want to, but you gotta be realistic. We ain't going 17-0. So
Yeah,
but
we can't anymore. But
the team that we're playing coming off an embarrassing loss to say the least. And they are a very good team with an elite quarterback. And yes, I use it with a capital E. I've loved Herbert since he came out. Wish that's who we would have taken back in the day, but whatever. But the weapons they got is just going to be too much for our DBs, man. And we can't rely on the kicking game. If we do run the ball, great. But like I said earlier, it's going to be one of those things where they're just, we don't got the tools right now on defense to stop Herbert, whether it's running or throwing. So I think we lose this game something around, I'll go 24-14. I think we lose this game.
ooh,
Yeah, I think like I said, I think it's going to be close. Like maybe going into halftime and it's, 7 to 13-7, 14-7, 10-7, 7-7, 10-10, whatever, something like that. But then I think the second half they make the adjustments and it's too late for us. So that's just what I feel. So sucks to say, but
I mean, I knew my back was hurting after work, but I didn't realize there was a knife back there when I sat down for the show. Like, come on,
hey man.
I'll,
And
I'll pull
James
that.
first, I mean, and James coming back, but it's just like if I keep re-hitting on it, and I'm not trying to keep away from Taylor picking, making her picks or whatever, but if I keep hitting on it, Luke's gone off the past 2 weeks, but Jane's not looking at Luke. He's just not going to do it. Ertz is his guy, and like we talked about, that's another reason I asked because I was on the fringe of picking who I want, and I was like, man, who? And then when it was the Derwin or a safety coming down on Ertz and Debo, is it a real heel or is it more just like he's a vet, give him the week off? And you got to use common sense and tell yourself that there's no way we don't run the ball here, and we could get out to our early lead and run the game away and just keep the ball away, and we could win that way. We can definitely do it, but there's no proof. We have nothing to go off of that tells us that that is what we're going to do. We've had 4 weeks now where when a guy moves in motion on the other team, we don't cover him. We don't cover him. And then when you get anywhere near the plus side of the field for the other team, we just say, no way they throw it across the middle. No way they throw a ball to someone in the middle of the field. No way they do that. And that's all they do. And then a little 4-yard drag route turns into a 45-yard touchdown or something insane. So there's just not enough proof there for me. Like I said, I'm on the fence of that we can definitely win this game. I just don't think it'll happen just because the weapons and the embarrassment that they took last week. Because, we beat the Giants, but whatever. But just, and that wasn't a dig at you. That was a dig.
No, you're good. You're
people
good.
know that, the Giants ain't about it this year. But main thing I'm taking away from it, I think Joe Witt gets it figured out, calls up some schemes, but we just don't like I said, we get there, but we don't finish it. We get there, we get to the backfield, we got Omarion wrapped up, we got pressure on Herbert, but they just get out of it, And then here's Keenan Allen just in the back of the end zone, like, hey guys, I've been here for 20 seconds. Just whenever you want to throw it, I'm right here, wide open. And Lattimore's over there ripping somebody's helmet off or getting a flag for touching the guy because they wore the same color towel on the other side of the field. But whatever. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'd be shocked if we won or lost. I think it's just we can do it. I just don't think we're going to be able to just because of the weapons on the other side of the field and not being able to rely on a kicking game and just not enough proof in Kliff to just run the damn ball, man, 30, 35 times and just see what happens. But, I'll pass it on over here to my LA representative.
So I did my predictions in June for the whole season. And I initially had the Chargers losing this game. I had them winning against the Giants and coming home and losing this game. I think, however, because Jayden's not fully healthy, Terry's out, your secondary's been beat up. And also to your point that the Chargers are coming off a really bad loss. I think they do win this game. I also think even with all the injuries on the offensive line, they find the right mix this week to give Herbert just enough time to get the ball out. Like I said, I really think the Chargers are going to go with Salyer at left tackle, Mekhi Becton goes back to right guard, and then the rest of the offensive line stays the same. I think that's their best bet to win. Like I said, Salyer played left tackle in 2022. His PFF grades are pretty good, stepping in for Slater when he was hurt. I think this game as well, they do rely more on the run game offensively. I'm guessing Hampton's going to get about 20 touches in the backfield. Last week he had 12. I think they do step that up this week, and he gets more involved in the run game. And just how bad the secondary has been for the Commanders. I was looking at some numbers, and they give up a lot of big plays. I think Herbert throws for over 300 yards this game too. So I have my final score 27-24. It's a little bit closer than you. I think it will be close. I think it will be that 3-point spread. But you talked about the kicking game. We have one of the most accurate kickers ever at this point.
Let's
so
wrap. Come on, no.
He was a guy. No one wanted him, and he landed on the Chargers, and he's been amazing since he's been there.
Yeah.
But I think the final will be 27-24, and also to mention, the first home game of the season was against Denver, and you actually heard that the Chargers had like a home presence for once, which is typically not the case. All the home games I go to, especially against the Chiefs, it's all red.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this week all the fans bring the same intensity. We actually have kind of a home presence, and that kind of propels the team to step it up and come back from last week's loss.
Well, Nick's betrayal will not be forgotten about this. I'm gonna beat his
Herbert shirt on under this. Don't worry.
I'll beat your ass off screen. Well, since one of us has to be the homer, one of us has to be positive. I will now be the default ipso facto. I have the Commanders winning the game. I'm actually to take Taylor's score 27-24. I think it's going to be a more physical matchup, but I think we are going to eventually start getting a momentum in the second half. I could see this being like a 17-10 going into halftime, and then we finally find our rhythm mid third quarter going into the fourth, and then that's when it really matters. Like defense finally finds a step. I think the safeties are going to be more important than our cornerbacks. I could see Quan just railroading Quentin Johnson with a head hit and they not throw the flags because our safeties love to throw concussions around for whatever reason. But I think it's going to be actually the leg of Matt Straight, Matt Gay to win us the game on like a 35-yard field goal, like something small, because he hit a 52 last week and I'm not confident he could do that again. But I think if we get down, inside the 20 and we can't get past that, kick the field goal, see if our defense can turn him over. If not, just kneel out the game. I'm taking Taylor's 27-24, but for us Commanders. I need someone to root for us because it's not looking good from everybody else.
Yeah, look, I mean, I obviously want to win the game. Like I obviously, right? But I mean, I also said that we were going to beat the Falcons like 35-14. So, or something ridiculous. I wasn't worried about the Falcons at all. I looked by them. I looked past them. I guess just kind of like what our coaching staff did too, So,
Yeah.
I just think of it like, I mean, Taylor said it too, and without going down the rabbit hole and making myself sound like I'm a Chargers fan, but I mean, it's whether Quentin Johnson catches a 60-yard, 70-yard touchdown, or he goes up against Lattimore. As soon as they see that he's over there and Lattimore's matched up on him, they don't give a damn what the play is going to be. They're just going to get rid of it deep and either. And what did we talk about last week, John, with the percentages? He has over a 50% chance that every time you throw at him, you're guaranteed a first down. So
Yep.
half over 50% so you throw the ball 10 times, 5 times, you're going to get a first down either through a holding, a PI, or the physical just catch itself, So, and it's not like, okay, well, just don't get beat deep. Okay, well, then what if he's on Keenan now? A savvy vet who knows how to still run routes? Like, have you seen his shoulders? He has wings back there,
Yeah.
man.
It's wild.
The joints he tucks the wings in that before each game. He flies to the game. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and Herbert is just so methodical and he is an elite quarterback. I truly think that, I would argue with him, like, go like as a top 5 quarterback in this league, whether he's tied for 5, 3-way tie, or he's by himself. I think he's a truly great quarterback in this league. Yeah, you got some O-line issues, right? But at the end of the day, we get some pressures and we sack Geno. We did really good against Geno. But, like look at the Giants game with Russell Wilson. What we had 2 sacks, but both of them were called back because Bobby slapped him in the face one time. And then the other guy, like, hit him late or whatever it was. I mean, it's just going to be one of those games where Herbert just knows how to beat us. And like you said, John, where we catch our stride at the end of the game, I looked at it as, we're going to come out and do something totally different on offense and defense that's not on film for the Chargers to see, which will give us that, early lead or that tie game going into halftime. And then they're just going to come out of halftime and be like, all right, well, what they can't do is cover us. So as soon as we get the ball, we're just going to go score, so. But if we just run the ball and we don't give up on it and we take, full advantage of that banged up O-line and, maybe try and catch y'all sleeping with the mentality of, damn, another NFC East team is just, Herbert, he can't do nothing. Like they're killing us on the pressure, then maybe. But like I said, that I just don't see this team being one of those teams where like the Raiders, where you get up, 14 points or you hit the quarterback a few times or get a couple backfield stops where they're like, oh, this is going to be a long game. They're going to go right back to the sideline, get up on the I would say iPad, but they use Microsoft. But they get on their little tablets and be like, okay, look, you see this guy, Lattimore, right?
Mhm.
Whoever's over there, just throw the damn ball. Lad goes on him, he's going to have a career day. So I hate to say it, but being as unbiased as I can be, and I just truly think that they just got too many weapons for our defense at this point in time. So
Makes sense. Another target just to keep an eye on this week, and I know, John, you mentioned him in the beginning of the show, is Aronde Gatson. He got the start because Disley was out against Denver,
Mhm.
and he's been another guy like third down. Herbert's looking too, so he's another big body target to keep an eye out for this week as well.
I can't dismiss anything either of y'all said. I'm still reeling in from Nick's betrayal, so I'm gonna go cry about it when I edit this episode. Um, but no, Nick's got 24-14 the Chargers. Taylor's got 27-24 for her Chargers. I've got 27-24 for our Commanders. Week 5 is not so far away. When this drops, it'll probably be roughly a day before the game. But that being said, Taylor, thank you for joining us and spending damn near an hour. I said 35-40, and I
yeah,
Now, this was so much fun. I really appreciate you guys reaching out to me. This is my first co-podcast with another team, and this was a ton of fun. And if there's another Commanders matchup in the near future, I'd love to come back and talk some more football with you guys.
oh,
you
absolutely.
never know. There is a Super Bowl this year, so you never know.
Hey,
Hey, I'm all for it. Sign
Yeah,
me up.
yeah, but you flying us out to Vegas this time.
All right, that works.
That way, I
just,
won't
just
feel too bad if the game goes bad. I'll be in Vegas.
just string and gamble it away. But like, Nick, what are you doing?
That's it.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah,
What up, guys?
exactly. I'm really going to bring my Herbert shirt that day.
I hope not. I hope
No,
not. But
hell
guys,
no.
let's wrap things up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on the Ballin In Burgundy podcast. Like I said, road to 1,000 subscribers, 260 away. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about BIB, and then go follow, subscribe to Taylor the Electric Edge podcast. Get her to 1,000 subscribers. She's already at that 500 mark way faster than we even got to 250. So go subscribe to her, putting out content like no other. Give her a subscribe. We're going to look forward to week 5 here on Sunday afternoon. Hopefully we get the dub so I can prove Nick right. If not, I'm sure I will see Taylor's post about, well, these morons were absolutely
Yeah.
right to root for us, and
Well,
John was
one
not.
more.
One moron was right. I was the fool for rooting for us Commanders. But I can't wait to see what happens. Let's hopefully have a good game. Hopefully no more injuries. I can't stand this
Yeah,
injury
no
bug
more.
that keeps
No more.
this is I can we just not, football gods, please?
Yeah,
No more injuries for either team at this rate.
yeah,
But no,
no
that's a
more
wrap thing.
injuries, and I would love to be wrong this week. But other than that, I'm with you.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap things up, guys. Like I said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let's raise hail this Sunday, or if you're a Chargers fan, bolt up. But that being said, guys, don't forget to stay ballin', and we will see y'all out there.